Reflect on this. Think about this. Supposing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had said, Malik Yawmiddin, we know this. Allah is the Malik of the Day of Judgment and we are going to go before it. But the introduction, the way Allah introduced Himself, supposing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had said, Al-Qahar wal-Jabbar, Al-Muntaqim wal-Aziz, Malik Yawmiddin. Now somebody who has, and may Allah give us this khushu in the salah, may Allah give us the tawfiq to learn Arabic at least enough to understand, the basic surahs which we recite and so on. So somebody who is understanding and reciting and he has this thing, Al-Qahar wal-Jabbar wal-Muntaqim wal-Aziz, Malik Yawmiddin, what will happen to it? You will say, I'm finished, I'm dead, I'm gone. Khalas, I'm going before Allah. Allah is saying, Allah is introducing Himself as what? Al-Qahar wal-Jabbar. Allah didn't do that. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allah is saying, oh my slave, you will come before me, but remember, I am Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. You will come before me, but remember, I am the most forgiving. Al-Ghafur ar-Rahim. Make istighfar. Make istighfar and tawbah. How to balance? Stop balancing. Come down on the ground. Allah Ta'ala gave us firm ground to walk on. He showed us a path to walk on, a Sirat al-Mustaqim. Walk on that. Why are you balancing? Think about this. I came here today on Kuwait Airways. Do I have a pilot who flew with me? So in Kuwait Airways, before I got to Kuwait Airways, I come from Makkah to Madinah by road. Do I know the driver, the taxi driver who drives me? Interestingly, the driver was a funny guy. He says, I overslept today and then I got into the car after I started driving. I realized I don't have my glasses. So, and he is telling me that at 90 miles an hour. Right? You're doing 90 miles an hour? Alhamdulillah. Tawakkalna ala Allah. He's actually one step less than what happened to me in Mumbai, many, many years ago. I get a cab from the airport to go to Kolaba. And the driver tells me, ये मुंबई इतना गंदी जगह है, इतना खराब है, ऐसा है बस. मैंने कहा बोलने दो. Let him say. He said, हर चीज में मिलावट है. Everything there is adulterated. Everything is mixed. He says, zahar में मिलावट. Even the poison is adulterated. I mean, I thought to myself, for God's sake, So I said, ये करो, how do you know zahar में? He said, मैं आत्महत्या करने के लिए खाया मरा नहीं. He said, I wanted to commit suicide. I ate poison. I didn't die. He said, मगर हुआ ये है कि दिखाई नहीं देता बाहर. He said, I can't see. He's driving. So this guy is better than that. You travel in a bus, you don't know the drive. You travel in a plane, you don't know the pilot. May Allah give you great health and keep you safe, but if you need an operation, you go before, you allow a surgeon to cut you open. And do you know the surgeon? Do I know his name? But do you know the guy? But we trust all of them, right? Does even the thought occur enough? I just think about it. That's why you must live a life of reflection. Don't just live, by default. Just think about it. I'm sure every single one of you has traveled in a plane. Otherwise, how did you get here? You didn't walk here. When you got into a plane, does even the thought come in your mind? This guy, this pilot, does he really know? Is he safe? I mean, is this plane going to land properly or take off, or am I going to die? Does it even occur to us? No. We are more concerned about what is the food like, what is the in-flight service like, and how they're going to. We are worried about, we're concerned about those things. Nobody thinks about the safety, and safety should be the number one. You assume. My point is, you don't know the pilot, you trust the pilot. You don't know the bus driver, you trust the bus driver. You don't know the surgeon, you trust the surgeon. You go to the restaurant, you are eating food there, you don't know the cook, you don't know how he has cooked, what he has done, whether the guy today has a bad cold. I don't want to go into the description of what might happen, right? You trust all of them. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Jalla, ثالثها فذلكنا ورزاق ذو القوة المتين. فوق وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون. ما أريد منه من رزق وما أريد أن يطعمون إلا الله هو الرزاق ذو القوة المتين. Allah said, I have not created you for anything other than to worship me. And Allah knows us because He created us. So He answers the question before it even comes into our mind. Because, okay, you created me only to worship you, but what do I eat? How do I? Allah said, don't worry about it. I am not asking you to feed me. I'm not asking you for food. I'm not asking you to feed my creases. Inna Allah huwa ar-razzaqu dhul quwwatil mateen. 6 times Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala emphasizes, He is Allah, He is ar-razzaq, and He will feed you by His power. भरोसा नहीं अल्लाह के ऊपर. पायलट पे भरोसा करो, ड्राइवर पे भरोसा कर, सर्जन पे भरोसा करो, बावर्ची भरोसा करो, अल्लाह पे नहीं भरोसा. ये क्या होगा, मेरे बच्चों को क्या होगा, मेरी दुकान क्या हो, क्या हो, क्या होगा. We trust everybody without knowing. We don't some. Because we don't reflect, we don't think. We don't try to know Allah. How many of us have reflected and thought and tried to know Allah? How many of us have asked this question and say, it is my number one duty to know my Rabb? Yes? Ibn Abbas narrated with beautiful hadith. He says that one day I was behind Rasulullah. He was riding on him. Whether it was a horse or a camel, I don't know what. He was sitting behind Rasulullah. Imagine a small boy, he's riding behind Rasulullah. You would have been hugging him. So Allah subhanahu rewarded. Give some people status today just to make salah, just to go in front of the grill there at the Rawda. May Allah reward all of those who do it, and may Allah help us to do that many times, inshallah. You have to stand in line and go in that crowd and so on. So here is in the mass is hiking the he said, I was behind it, riding behind him, and see Rasulullah. He always benefited anyone who was a counselor. Nobody said was waste. I mean, I'm not even talking about benefit to be able to be in the company of the Rasulullah, to see him, to be with him in a state of iman makes the person a sahabi. That's a different benefit altogether. Anyway, without anything. They prayed salah behind him. They spoke to him, all of this. But specifically, so Ibn Abbas says, I was behind him, And he said to him, "Oh boy, I will teach you something, some words." And then he teaches him this. These hadiths we should all read and memorize and reflect on and teach our children. This is the duty of every father and every mother to teach their child this particular hadith, because this is the hadith of our Aqidah of Tawheed. He says, be mindful of Allah and He will protect you. Ittaqullah, and Allah will ihfazuk. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect you. Be mindful of Allah, have taqwa of Allah, and you will find Allah before you. This is the description of ihsan in Hadith Jibreel. An ta'bud Allah ka'annaka tara, wa illam takun tara fa innahu yarak. He said, worship Allah as if you can see Him, and if you cannot see Him, know that He sees you. Have taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is taqwa? Taqwa is to be concerned about doing everything and saying everything in a way that pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To fear to displease Allah. Taqwa is to fear to displease Allah. So everything, whatever we say or do, must be done in a way which pleases Allah. Ask question, does it please Allah? So he says, have taqwa and Allah will protect you. Number one. Number two, have taqwa and you will find Allah before you. And then he says, when you ask only Allah. Ask only Allah. And if you need help, seek help only from Allah. No partner. And then he says something beautiful. He says, know that in the entire creation were to gather to do something to benefit you, you would never get any benefit except what Allah has already written for you. And then know that if all of creation were to gather to harm you, you would not be harmed except to the extent that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written for you. And he said, the pens have been lifted and the pages are dry. And this is a Sahih Hadith interview. So, His knowledge is perfect. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what we need. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the power to give it to us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, I will give you, and I know what you need, and I will give you to the extent which you need. So look at, it is the sunnah of Allah, it is the practice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fulfills a need when there is the need. Our problem is we want something to be done 100 years in advance. When did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala command the fire to cool down for Ibrahim alayhi salam? When? How? When they started the fire? Second day, third day, fourth day? Why? Exactly. When he was lying to the earth. When the fire was still there, when he was tied up and put into the cup of the trebuchet, the catapult to be thrown, that time the fire was not too fire. Only when Ibrahim alayhi salam they shot the thing, he's flying through the air, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Qulna ya nar kuni bardan wa salaman ala Ibrahim. At that time. Because that is the need. The need is them. Does Ibrahim alayhi salam need the fire to be cooled when he's sitting in the catapult? No, when he's sitting in the catapult, he's there in the catapult. The fire is burning. Why should it cool? Remember. When did the door open up for Yusuf alayhi salam when he wanted to escape from what the woman was tempting him? When did the door open? When he ran to the door, not before. What does it teach us? It teaches us that we need to make the action, we need to take a decision, we need to make the move, and then Allah will open the door. We said, no, the door first should be open first. Show me the door open. Doesn't work like that. Does not work like that. Imagine this. Imagine that this whole masjid, this room, is made of glass. All the walls. And this has your entire risk for your whole life. Your complete provision. Right? Imagine this. Everything, material, in terms of knowledge, health, children, spouses, everything. Imagine it's filled with everything, right? It has two doors. One on this corner, one on that point. And on top of the door there is a retina scanner. So as soon as you go and stand in front of the door recognizes you and opens for you. Right? Now this door on the right has a big sign saying halal. The door on the left has a sign saying haram. Now imagine you are standing in front of that door which says has. And because it is the scanner, the sensors recognizes your eyes, door is open. What is inside here? Your entire sustenance. Right? You're standing in front of the door is open. You are about to step inside. At that time, Ate see. You say, so what happened? Please don't enter through that. Please come around this way, enter through this door, same place, same everything, nothing has changed. Huh? Nothing has changed. What is inside? Nothing. If you enter from there, you are not going to get 1 cent more. If you enter from here, you will not get 1 cent less. It's the same thing. Don't enter from there, enter from here. So it's okay, it's a good idea. You turn around. As soon as you turn around, what happens to the door? Huh? It closes. It can no longer see you, so it closes. Now you panic. Say, whatever. I was going inside, everything was nice, now suddenly door closed. So you turn around again. When you turn around, door opens again. He said, there will be door is open. Now again you're going to say, he just stop. No, stop. What happened? Turn around, come this way. He said, no, hold on a second. When I turn around, this door is shut. That door is already shut. You go and open that door, I will turn. Will that door open for Adi? No. That is your door. It is your rizq. Nobody can take it.